Come with me for 4 weeks as I do something every single day for my garden. It is a blustery day. There is rain on and off, and we're expecting snow overnight and into tomorrow. So, not sure what's getting done in the next couple days, but let's go see what we can get done. Starting with prepping a spot for peas to be planted. This spring we've had a lot of speedwell come up in our gardens, as well as some grass, and I started out today by pulling out as much of that as I could within a couple feet of where I wanted to plant the peas. You can also see we have a giant pine tree in our yard that dumps a lot of large pine needles, so those are all over, and I just kept pulling and getting as much of it out as I could. Once I was satisfied with the amount of green that I pulled out of the garden, I started raking the pine needles, and they do make quite a great mulch in the garden, but it can also cause problems with our flood irrigation. Right now I just decided to put as much of it up on the edge of the berm as I could and let it continue to kill weeds. We did have a decent rainstorm over the weekend, so it is very muddy, and as you can see, my shoes are carrying that mud really, really well. I then got my furrow tool out and just began to dig where the peas would be planted. I was kind of rushing at this point because it was past lunchtime and my youngest was very, very hungry. Before I went in to make lunch, I took a second to clean the mud off my tools so I wasn't adding to the mess in my shed. As I was finishing up lunch, I realized I couldn't find my pea seeds anywhere, so I went to my favorite local greenhouse and picked up some Green Arrow pea seeds. I also noticed this product by Burpee that is meant to help your beans and peas grow better. I recently saw the Seasonal Homestead use something similar, so I thought I'd give it a shot. The last time I planted peas, I planted them just like they said, an inch apart, and I had hardly any of them come up, so I decided to plant heavy this year, planning to thin them out if I get way too many. After they were in the furrow, I covered them up with some compost from my local landfill. Now, don't judge me for this. Our local landfill is known for having some of the best compost around, and for the price, you really can't beat it. I was worried there wasn't quite enough compost, like it wasn't deep enough, so I threw a little bit more of the dirt back on top, and then I used some rainwater we had collected to water these in really well. Even though there's going to be more rain on them. I wanted to make sure they got a good soak. Between the mud and the pine needles, they just make this thick thatch on the bottom of your shoes, and I definitely chose the wrong shoes and needed to take a second to try and clean some of this off with a moonwalk. I got them in, and the outdoor thermometer right now says it's 50 degrees. It feels colder than that to me. It feels quite cold, but the peas are in before this big rainstorm. They're well watered now, and I hope that they do well. Check back.